Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we talk about the issues that affect the customer experience at your stores. Whether it's the front of the store, the back of the store, or somewhere in the middle. Doesn't really matter because the better experience they have, the more they will come back to you for everything they need when they need it. And every week I'm very fortunate. I've got a great collection of friends and network connections that come on here to share with you what they do or what they've done to improve the customer experience in your stores. Real actionable items that you can use starting tomorrow. And this week, I'm doing something a little bit different. I've seen a lot of open to work lately in my network. And you know what? I'm always open to help anybody. So I figure we would kind of do something a little bit different today. And I'd like to welcome Vernon Davis, David Rozek. We were supposed to have Barry Davis also. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. And moderating with us is Larry Feldman, my good friend from Pennsylvania. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Starting with Vernon, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, how you got to this point, and then David, and then Larry, and then we'll jump right into the topics.
Well, I'm Vernon Davis, and again, thank y'all for having me on your broadcast. I really appreciate it, Paul and Larry. How did I get to this point? That's a very good question. But I been in the car business a little over, I'll just say 20 plus years. We'll say that. Okay. I've done everything from bag shop, from Porter to GM back in the 90s. But then I found fixed ops, and I've realized I was more happier with fixed ops than I was with variable. My last assignment, I was one of the first mobile service operations specialists for Ford with the new mobile service program. So I was not in the first hiring. I was in the second hiring. So I'm not one of the godfathers of mobile service. I call myself one of the fun uncles. But what I'm doing now is looking for an opportunity to do what I love to do, which is my passion. My passion is to motivate, inspire people, train people, help them to do their job better, enjoy their lives, and make more money.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
David.
Hey, so I'm Dave Rozek. Spent the past 3 decades in automotive. Spent time when I was younger in the fixed ops department. Grew up in the car business. I'm a 4th generation car kid. My son is the 5th. So I've worked for a few groups over those past 30 years. I've worked a heavy amount of time in the variable as used car manager, used car director, general manager, worked in F&I, worked in the BDC. So I've been blessed on understanding a lot of things on the variable side. Came to corporate at the Napleton side, worked as an e-commerce director for years, then switched into an actual marketing director when I felt confident that I could do that. That was one area that I kind of felt that there wasn't enough communication between the marketing departments and all departments, and that neither side really understood each other real well, and that there needed to be something bridged between each other, especially when it came to working with different vendors. So I've spent the past 10 years kind of breaking stuff. I kind of, look at different products with vendors, get an idea, vet them out, make sure it's the right fit in our tech stack, especially now with AI. So, my past employer was a great company, but they were downsizing. Their market is kind of going down a little bit. I understood they were closing locations. They were selling off some stuff possibly in the future here. So it was time for me to make an exit. And we felt that mutually it was probably the best thing for everyone. It was a beautiful opportunity, though, that a lot of friends have reached out to me and said, hey, come and help us with our social media. Come and help us with our brand. Come and help us understand AI. So I'm not totally unemployed. I'm a little bit self-employed there, but I've always been more comfortable, especially my wife's been more comfortable when I have a dealer hat on. So I hope that tells you enough about me.
Excellent. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
Larry Feldman.
I'm a former dealer. About 13 years ago now, I did somebody a favor with recruiting and training. They were terrible. So I started a sales training and recruiting company. And 4 years into it, made a lot of friends, made some money, had a lot of fun. A dealer said, Larry, you're we got 20 salespeople. You found, hired, and trained 15 of them, and the top 10 are all your guys. Can you find me service people? So I'm sure David and Vernon knew what I did. I lied. I said, of course I can. What was I going to say? No, sure, no problem. How hard can that be? And now I'm everywhere from California to the East Coast. I'm in Canada. I find every position, and I do really fun, really motivating sales training. And let me just throw something out here. Um, Paul's been having this fabulous show for years and years and years, and I just was lucky enough to trip over him, and we became really good friends. And the only reason that he asked me to jump in is he knows I'm actively recruiting and trying to find things. And in this case, it was really a pleasure because I've become really friendly with David, friendly with Vernon, and I've offered to help both. It's just really good because anybody that isn't aware of these two gentlemen, their talent, it's all there. And not only is their talent there, their passion is there, because I think we'll all agree the passion's more important than the talent. Vernon, you fired plenty of guys that could turn a wrench, but just their head wasn't in the game. And you've taken people that weren't as talented, but had the right attitude, and you grew them. Correct?
That is correct, sir. I believe in helping anybody that really wants. If you want to do the job, I'm here to help you. I roll up my sleeves and get shoulder to shoulder with you. Even in my last role, I'm the kind of guy. I'm not suited and booted, but I'm blazered and slacks. And there's nothing for me to take off my jacket and get up under a car with a technician, show him where the problem is, and hey man, hand me a 10 millimeter wrench and move and show them how to do whatever it is that they're doing. I am a master. Actually, I'm a Ford certified master tech, parts manager, service manager, and service advisor. But I'm just that guy that, hey, if you ask me to help you, I got those certifications because I don't believe in trying to tell somebody how to do a job if I don't know how to do their job. So I make it a point to help people. I'm a certified life coach. I do a show just like Paul does for the last 4 years. All I talk about is positivity and motivation and inspiring people to be better than they were yesterday.
Sounds like a guy that needs to be hired. And David, you've been on my show, my Lethal Sales show, and I see your posts all the time. And it's funny that you kind of mislabel yourself. I break things. No, you don't. You figure out what's wrong and you try to fix them. I see you doing more building than destroying. Um, if you had your druthers, if everything fell exactly the way you wanted it to, and you made your wife obviously and yourself happy, what would be your ideal position? We know where Vernon wants to be. Vernon can take any fixed ops department from the middle or the bottom to the top. David, where do you see yourself if everything fell in?
So I'm a hybrid. It's strange. I'm that car guy that can adapt to being a vendor. I'm that car guy that can be an account manager. I'm the car person that could work the desk for you and close deals. But in reality, the most comfortable thing for me, whether I'm working with an external agency or internal agency, is to help dealers grow and guide them. I think the key for me is that I've always been able to kind of build what's called a brand theater and kind of look at all the points in a dealership to kind of put them on stage so that they're given a genuine and trusted message. I think that right now with AI, that's a huge problem because people don't understand how AI triggers things. It's not about just certain points in the dealership. It's about everything meeting the needs of the customer, no matter where they're at and when they're researching us. And then it's actually just doing what you say you're going to do. Nowadays we have a lot of things that can take the place of people, but the problem is that we don't understand how to fix our culture first, and that all these tools and tech stuff we throw out, it's not a silver bullet. What it is it helps us with efficiency. And I'm one of those people that's about efficiency. So when I make training GPTs on ChatGPT, and I've built hundreds of these things, right? But I build them for individuals, and my goal is to break it a bunch of different times so that I get it right, so it matches that dealer's personality, so it empowers that group of people. It doesn't matter if it's service writers or if it's finance managers or salespeople or BDC or leadership. I've probably built a tool for them, or I've written a book that's kind of helps me guide. So I have different plans and different go-to-market tools that I use to help people. And that's just really it. In a perfect scenario, would I like to work for a large dealer group and help them grow? Absolutely, because that's a challenge. I'm always pivoting. There's always another rabbit hole to overcome. But the difference is that I'm usually the calm in the storm. When shit hits the fan, I'm usually the guy that says, hey, pause. Let's isolate what the problem really is, and then let's fix it. Step by step, we're going to do this together. And I get buy-in from everybody. So we're not just causing churn, that we get real results and just a bunch of, people talking about fixing something, but don't really fix the problem. I'm more on execution than anything. The problem is I do it kind of quick and it kind of ticks people off. They're just like, oh, Dave's just having fun on social media. No, I'm not. Dave's just having fun on Reputation today. No, I'm not. Dave has fun doing that TV commercial. Dave has fun making us managers look bad because we didn't do our spotlights or because we didn't listen to our phone calls. No, I'm that guy that just checks and improves and helps you. But, people that are pretend managers, they see it as sometimes they think that I'm a very toxic person that way because I'm calling you out. And I try not to do it in front of everybody, but I try.
Whoa. I got to interrupt you. To me, a toxic manager is someone that doesn't call you out.
Exactly.
Because they let you go broke. And when you both get fired, they say, boy, he was really a nice guy. I luckily I ran into him in the unemployment line.
Yeah. And I think that's why right now opportunities, I'm blessed. I have friends like you guys. I'm talking to a group of experts right now, and I'm humbled to be in the same conversation, everybody here and the people watching this. It's just and it's the same way when I'm on Clubhouse and I'm just learning and I'm just a sponge of everybody's knowledge set. But the difference sometimes is that I'm able to take everybody's knowledge and simplify it and then make it and adapt it for that person I'm dealing with it. Now, I can talk anybody in a circle like anybody, but the difference is I could also give you a game plan really quickly and say, hey, this is what we need to do to move the needle. And if it doesn't work, we're going to pivot and we're going to figure out which way it does move the needle. And right now, the market's moving fast. And if you aren't adapting, if you're not pivoting, and if you're not seeing that there's a lot of snake oil out there right now in the market, there's a problem right there because most dealers don't have a chief AI officer. They don't have a chief social media officer. They don't have a marketing person because they have some agency that's giving them a half-ass effort and overcharging them and not even really doing SEO. They're just collecting a paycheck right now. And that's the truth. And I'm one of those people that I'm not very well liked when I call out a lot of vendors and hold them accountable. But here's the thing. I'm making the dealers always more money. I'm always growing your market share and helping you with your retention. I've never not done that yet. So, and if I ever do, fire me. But
so it sounds to me like, you're on the forefront of AI probably more than most of the people that are on LinkedIn and most of the people that are in dealerships. Okay. It's moving at such a quick pace that, you really need somebody that understands it and that can leverage it to be able to make things better, to make things more efficient. Because, we make money several different ways, right? We make money by generating profit, or we make money by becoming more efficient or cutting costs. And the part where people are struggling right now is in the AI space. Everybody and his brother calls everything AI, even the stuff that's not AI. So what you bring to the table, what you bring to the table is a very specific skill set that I'm going to say 95% or better of the people out there don't have.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
I want to second that, David, if I may. I was into the lean thing. I got my whatever that first belt was, and I was working on my second belt, and I saw AI moving in such a rapid pace, and I'm seeing it in dealerships. And then some of the things that people don't realize are AI that's been around for a long time, but it's just kind of taken a leap into the stratosphere. So as Paul just said, man, I'm surprised there's people not hunting you down with a net to
every day I do get those calls. But the bad thing about it is that if you're just calling me for an answer, that's great. I'll give it to you freely. But if you're calling me to come into your store, you have to give me the autonomy, and you have to understand that it's a team, right? You can't tell your SEO company or GSEO company or AI person's handling your AI overviews to fix this and get me more traffic, because it doesn't work without your reputation management. It doesn't work without your staff being on stage every day. It doesn't work with you inviting your guest stars and your customers into that stage. And if you don't love your community and you don't bring that all together, you're not bringing those genuine experiences that set you apart. So that's why I don't get along with a lot of car dealers, because you're not willing to train. You're not willing to do the little things. A GM told me the other day, "Hey, Dave, I'd like to hire you to do my social media." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with your internal marketing department for your 40 plus stores?" And he says, "They're okay." So I ran a report and it said they weren't that great on engagement. But I said, you know what, there's got to be something deeper. But you know what they keep asking them for? Send us a picture of you and the customer. Send us a video of the customer taking delivery. Send us a video of the events, because they're in two different worlds and they have 40 locations. So I explained to him, I said, you know what, the problem isn't your marketing company. The problem is you don't meet me. The problem is your company needs you. And he said, what? I said, you need to start leading and you need to have a go-to-market plan and a process. Here's what you need to do. So I sent him a video on brand integrity, and just understanding. And then I wrote him out a mind map and said, here, this is what you need to do with your people. You need to actually have people that want to brand themselves, that want to talk about the store. You have these service writers that have all these tips that they give customers every day. You need to have a fun fact Friday. It needs to be, everything is on stage. Everybody's in sales and everybody's in service mentality. No more freaking island effect in a dealership, because everything we do is on stage. If you're a dealer and you don't want to have that type of growth, then I'm not your guy. And that's the problem right now that I have with a lot of people. I give free advice all the time, but the difference is that I'm a little bit more selective at my age. I don't mean to be a jerk, but if you're asking for somebody to call you out, if you're asking for somebody to roast you, I'm going to do it in a nice way and try not to make an ass of myself and you at doing it. But the reality is I don't know how not to do it other than tell you the brutal truth of those things, because a lot of this data and metrics don't lie. Okay. It really adds up to us just not communicating and not having a plan. So I'm sorry to just take over this whole conversation that way, but the reality is that we're a bunch of talented people, but everybody just needs to work together and get through this AI struggle that we're having, because all this stuff we've been talking about, it's 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago. And it all comes down to, do we have the clean data? Are we treating people right? Are we not keeping people on hold? Are we answering their questions? Does our tools work right? Does our first salesman working? And our first salesperson is our website. Then it comes down to our people. So, there's all these great acronyms right now. I'm so sick of AI vomit and AR acronyms from people that I understand why dealers and vendors don't even trust each other and can't talk right now. But I'm that person that can bridge the gap, and I can simplify it for you as a dealer principal or the C-suite. The reality is that, are you like most people and say, Dave, I don't care what you do, just make it happen. So you do it and you put it in a process and you make it happen. Then it's kind of like, well, what are you doing? Because I'm like, dude, you don't pay me by the hour. You pay me for my expertise. Okay. I cut through the noise pretty quickly and I multitask at a very high level. I don't have the IQ score that I have because I'm stupid, but I am terrible because I am brutally honest at times with people, and people don't like that. I don't always know how to sugarcoat a bad situation. I know how to fix it with you and say, hey, this is what I believe is missing. This is what we need to do. Now, I probably hurt that friend that I mentioned earlier. I probably hurt his feelings when I told him it's not your marketing team. It's not me that you need to hire. You need to hire yourself, buddy.
Yeah, but think about it. No company, no product, no project can't doesn't have the ability to go awry if you're not paying attention.
Right.
If you think about how many dealerships have gotten crippled by giant fines because they weren't compliant, or have lost terrific people, Vernon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't nurture a tech, or you don't make them feel comfortable with themselves. You said, Vernon, that AI is more of it's been around a lot longer than people would acknowledge. Um, Paul knows this because he's come to see my band. Vernon and David, you may not know it. I'm an active musician. I got a bunch of CDs out. I got films and so I'm always on Amazon, and they know exactly. Man, they'll send me something because it's a blues record. Well, why don't we think along those lines? Why don't we try to figure out what people want, and give it to them? It's crazy. Vernon, what are you seeing in dealerships? We again, and I've been on Service Driveline with you, so I know how damn smart you are. There's no question. What do you see? First of all, what do you see is coming? We know what your role is going to be because whoever gets you in, you're going to be hands on, and you're going to force them. Um, I'd like to hear what you think we need and what you see coming, and I'd love to hear what Paul says because I don't know if you two know this. Paul's all over the damn country. Okay. In between meals, he's at different dealerships. I think he just got back or he's going back to Kentucky. He's everywhere. And he's not just sales. I train sales. He trains sales and service. So I kind of like to see a little bit what you see is coming and what you see as a problem. And Paul, get your input on this.
So Vernon, before you answer that, you bring a lot to the table because you have a lot of experience. Okay. Now, your last stint, I think, is a critical one with the mobile service. Okay.
Yes,
because today, my good friend Paul Machine, he calls it the bite me economy. Bring it to me economy. Okay. We are all about convenience today, and convenience in automotive service, where the opportunity is in mobile service. And, I hear some stores starting to think about it. I hear some stores have launched one, maybe two vans, but you've done this at scale. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to know, first of all, what opportunity are you excited about or looking forward to? And does mobile service, I see that as a great opportunity. Is that where you're headed?
You set me up.
I did.
Yeah, you set me up. Okay, so what do I see the industry going on? Yes, I do see it going to, as he called it, to bite me, bring it to me. I was fortunate. I was very fortunate to be a part of, like I said, the Ford Mobile Service Program from its inception. I wasn't in the first hiring. I was in the second hiring, and I've launched over 100 units across the country. I've been in and out of 250 dealerships between mobile service and quick lane. I do know for a fact that mobile service is the next big thing out there. There's been a lot of naysayers about it. You can't make any money changing oil. You can't do this. You can't do that. No, you can't do anything that you say that you cannot do. You cannot. I don't care who you are or how you spell it. You cannot. I have personally trained people from technicians through dealer principals on how to run a successful program, which is what he set me up to say. Is I've actually wrote a book about it. It's the only one on the market. It's going to be released October the 1st. I'm very, very, very excited about it. But we were talking about trying to find me a job, so I think we just shot that in the leg by me talking.
Hold on. What's the title of your book?
Actually, you can go to the website. It's Ignite, Drive, Thrive, Lead.
Ignite, Drive, Thrive, Lead.
Yes, sir. I did it in collaboration with a gentleman named Bill Broxterman, goes by Brox. Been in the car business for a long time. Great guy. Kind of call him a big brother. But I'm very excited about it. I know that I've been applying for jobs. I don't know who's going to see this, but they're going to be like, hold on, this guy's writing books. Well, it's not my first book. I've actually wrote 4 books. One of them I couldn't publish. That's a whole nother story. But Mr. Feldman, I'm gonna go back to one thing that you said, that I could walk into a leadership role and fix ops. I don't want to be that. I like being boots on the ground to where I can get shoulder to shoulder with the technicians and the mobile service coordinators. I can speak to leadership, not scared of them. I'm like David, probably with a little bit more tact, but because my IQ is not as high as his. I'm a country boy from Texas. But I will tell you, your baby's ugly. But if I tell you your baby's ugly, I got a banana for that little ugly baby. So I know how, basically.
Hold on, Vernon. I just want to announce how proud I am that it's the first podcast I've ever been on when I'm not the guy offending everybody. I love this, Paul. Who knew I would be the peacemaker here?
Well, here's the other part that you don't know about me, Mr. Feldman. But one of the things that gives me grace with people is, one, I'm a certified life coach. So therefore, I'm able to read a situation, understand a situation very quickly. I'm also a professional stand-up comedian. Been on Last Comic Standing, Who's Got Jokes, Judge Mathis. I've done 3 tours of Germany entertaining the troops, and I travel the country. So my superpower is being able to walk into a room and understand where I'm at and who I'm dealing with, and being able to communicate with them on the level that they want to communicate with. If I got to talk to the bros, I can talk to the bros. If I got to talk with the essays, que pasa, man? I'm right there with them. If I got to talk to the dealer principal, well, let's sit down and have a glass of cognac and we can have that conversation.
Okay, I got to ask you one follow-up question, and I'm being dead serious now. Paul and I have tremendous respect for the two of you. So rather than be ephemeral, what position exactly? The same question I asked David. Because if you don't want to be a fixed ops director, because there's a lot of people listening to Paul's show, he's very well respected, and I'll help you any way I can. What role is it you're looking for?
I want to be a trainer. I want to be a trainer. I want to train people. I want to help people. Preferably I could do sales training. I'm very good at sales. I could sell an Eskimo ice. But I prefer fixed ops training is where I would like to land. Ultimately, I would like to be a part of helping someone establish their mobile service program and training their people from the ground up to understand what it is that they're bringing to the table and how to make money with it.
Vernon,
I'm going to shut up now. I just wanted to figure out what it is, because our whole purpose here was to have somebody go, wait a minute, Vernon Davis is amazing. Man, David's cool. But, if you don't put your coordinates in the navigation system, you're never going to get where you're going. So we know where you're heading, and we know what David is. I'm going to shut up now, Paul. I just wanted to pull out of him what it is they want.
Well, I apologize for talking so long, but I was not planning to talk about my book tonight, but he pulled it out of me.
Well, I'm seeing a role in a large dealer group where they want to launch mobile service and kind of take the lead. And you're the guy that has the experience for that.
Absolutely.
Well, now that I'm not, excuse me, now that I'm not a part of that program, because I was a contractor in that program, I'm now free to share my experience and knowledge with people. And the funny thing about it is I'm at that age to where I can do what I want to do instead of doing what I got to do. So that's why when you ask me, what do I want to do, Larry? It was easy. You see how easily it flowed from my tongue because it's from the heart. It's a passion for me. It's a passion for me to do this. It's a passion for me to share my experience and knowledge and show people that this is possible and this is profitable. And this is something that's, if you don't get with it today, then you're going to be looking at, the tail lights of your competitors because they're going to already be with it. But
David, do you know how how we can tell he's telling the truth? Every Dunkin' Donuts. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts freak. I'm probably like Paul. Wherever I go, I find a Dunkin'. I get the biggest iced tea I can, caffeinate up, and run wild. Every damn Dunkin' Donuts that's fixed in a shopping center has closed. They want a free space so you can have a drive-in. And if you've been to any place that has drive-in, it's the weirdest phenomena. Oh, the four of us would lose our minds if we owned a fast food restaurant. Because if you walk in, they ignore you so they can pay attention to the people that are too lazy to get out of their cars. So the signs are becoming clearer. Convenience is now everything.
Yeah, unless you're at Chick-fil-A, they're probably one of the few places that will wait on me when I walk in instead of in the drive-thru, treating you unbelievably. But
Chick-fil-A stands alone that they are the best behaved, most motivated. Man, I've never seen an unfriendly person. But generally speaking, don't laugh at me, David. I'm a high liver. I was just in Florida, and I ate at some nice restaurants. I said, man, I'm hungry and I got to run. And I stopped at McDonald's. I couldn't believe it. They wouldn't talk to me. Eventually, somebody came over because they were worried about the line. I don't know. This would be like you. I walk into your shop, Vernon, and you say, wait a minute, I can't really talk to you, even though you're here and you got your car. I got to talk to these people that aren't here. Just very strange.
So
That's
that's
all.
the same thing that customers are feeling at the dealership. I mean, I called a dealer the other day to schedule for an oil change, and the AI, wanted to do it, but it said there wasn't an appointment available. So I'm like, I want to talk to a person because it's just an oil change. Why put me out for 3 weeks for an oil change? And you're right down the road from me. So I wanted to speak to a person. It rang 5 different times before I got to a person, and then they hung up on me.
You want to laugh? I was a little late for this call. I'm in love with Paul Meijer. My wife likes his wife. I love him. So I didn't want in any way, shape, or form hold him up. The reason I held you up, Paul, is I made a deal tonight with a guy that called me and he said, son of a gun. Although he didn't call me gun, use your own imagination. You answered your phone. I said, so? He says, well, the guy that recommended me says this crazy guy Feldman always answers his phone. Now explain to me, the 4 of you, why you should get a gold medal for answering your phone. This is how far afield we've gotten as a service business that you can't get anybody to answer their damn phone.
I'm with you. I've got a GM that I've been chasing down for about 2 weeks. Will not answer his phone.
That's your fault, Vernon. Smart as you are, you're taking the wrong tack. Call up tomorrow, disguise your voice, and say this is Mr. Jackson from the IRS. He'll pick up real quick.
But at the same time, you're right. You're 100% right. Everything is automated, and that automation, unfortunately, is taken away from the human touch, the human authenticity of being able to connect with people and show them with sympathy, with empathy, that you actually care about them, want to take care of them, and that you are there for them. I've been in dealerships standing there waiting to see the service manager and have had customers. Well, I was a Lincoln exclusive mobile service specialist. I was the first one in the country. But I'm standing, I'll never forget it. I'm in Minneapolis. I'm standing there. This guy pulls in this beautiful burgundy Navigator, and he's looking around, that look, like, hey, who's going to help me? And I walked up to him. Hey, sir, how you doing? Thank you for being a Lincoln customer. What brings you in today? Well, sir, I don't actually work here, but let me get somebody that can help you. And the general manager, I was there to see the service manager, but the general manager was watching the interaction over the camera. And he goes, can you teach my people to do that?
There you go.
I'm like, to do what? To be human? To be...
Hey, Paul, hey, Vernon, Paul is everywhere. He may be the only guy that travels more than me. Paul, if you don't mind turning away from these two handsome gentlemen for a minute, what are you seeing out there? 'Cause I talk to you all the time and tell you the insanity I'm seeing, but what are you seeing in terms of the customer approach and recognizing that we need to do a better job, not put people on hold, not return calls? What are you seeing, Paul?
What I'm seeing is that there are a lot of stores that are lacking in process. Okay. And, the better you set up yourself for success, the more success you will have. All right. Now, David knows the business because he grew up in the business. Okay. He knows the weak points. So he knows what to look for. And not only does he know what to look for, but he's able to implement and leverage the technology to improve what people are already either doing or not doing as well as they should be doing. In the service department, I see a lot of frustration, and because it's the same old story. It doesn't matter what the brand, it doesn't matter what the state, the city, the same things haunt everybody. Incoming status calls, okay? It's crippling the advisors. Vernon, who is on the forefront of training, has done this successfully. We've got mobile service that's going to be exploding. Okay, who are you going to put into the game? The guy that's tried and true, or the person that's just trying to figure it out, right? What I see is that if you structure certain processes so that the customer knows what to expect, and you cut down on the amount of incoming status calls, and you under promise and over deliver. To Vernon's point, where the vehicle pulled into the drive, I've done this numerous times. You go into any drive and you watch a car drive in, okay? You look at your watch, anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds later, if nobody approaches the vehicle, the door will open, the customer will step out of the vehicle, and they'll be looking around, trying to figure out where to go, right? Where to go.
I just did that.
So let me put something else in there, Paul. I don't care. And David, I'm sure you're wonderful at what you do. I'd love to learn to do what you do because I'm a computer geek. I build my own computers. But I don't care how many people you drive into a dealership. If you have not trained your people to handle all of these people that are coming in, that are calling, that are walking through your door, if you can't train your people to receive these people and treat them like you are ready for their business and appreciate their business, all the AI in the world is not going to help us. That's why we need people like me to train your people on how to take care of people, because there's a lot of service managers out there, and I love you. God bless you. You know, although I still believe parts managers parts department is the best part of dealerships, because don't nothing else work without them. But my point is this, is that people on your service drive are like apples. As you say, apples don't fall far from the tree unless that tree is planted on a hill. If your leadership does not care about anything but profitability and not the people, then your people will react in the same way. They don't have to get up off their butt because you're coming in to me. But I don't have to show you I care because you're coming into me. But if I showed you, if somebody taught your people how to show empathy and to care for the people who do take care of your business, your bottom line would increase. And so would the words your customers say about your business anywhere.
I think that's the problem with AI though. AI creates a falsification, and we have a lot of vendors that are going in saying, if you have a service AI, it's going to generate more service business. It doesn't generate necessarily more service business. Every once in a while, it may capture somebody after hours, but the reality is it's making it more convenient for the customer and making you more efficient as a service writer and as a service manager. The problem is that we have a lot of people that are doing things for the wrong reason. We think we're going to raise up our appointments. We're going to get more ROs because of our AI. And to a point, it may happen, but the reality is like we've been talking about, because I just experienced this. Not only could I not get a hold of the first dealer for 3 weeks to get an oil change, but the second dealer got me in right away. Okay. I called them. They got me in the next day. Wonderful that they got me in, but I pulled in the service lane, and I was that guy that waited about 90 seconds before I got out, because I had never been to this dealership before. Looked around, saw one person on their phone. I thought there was 3 service writers when I pulled in, but there was only one, and he was on his phone. The other guy was getting a cup of coffee and scrolling on his phone through TikTok when I walked in the drive. And I'm like, okay. So I sat there as the other guy talked on the phone, and maybe it was a customer, but it sure didn't sound like it. The third guy was nowhere to be found. So finally the guy hangs up the phone and goes, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have an appointment for an oil change and a tire rotation." And he's like, "You have an appointment? Because I don't think I have your name in here." And I said, "Well, I didn't give you my name yet." And he kind of looked at me, and I said, "But, could you just, here's my name. Could you look it up?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." He goes, "Are you just going to drop it off then?" And I'm like, "No, I was going to do some work while I'm here. Is that okay?" And he's like, "Well, that's fine." He goes, "It may be a couple hours though." And I'm like, "Well, if it gets too long, what time are you open till for me to pick up the car?" Well, I said, "I can just go to a cashier." And he goes, "Oh, there is no cashiers here. You just come see us." And I said, "Oh, so I just have to come back and see you and I pay my bill with you?" "Absolutely." And I'm like, he goes, "You're paying with it by card?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, then you can, come and see me and we'll let you know when it's done." So I thought, wow, that was a weird experience. The next guy walked up and he says, hey, do I know you? And I said, yeah, I think I do know you. You went to school with my son. And he goes, yeah, Peyton used to work here, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, I miss Peyton. He's still at Napleton? Yeah. So we started talking. He goes, oh, what do you need, Mr. Rozek? Do you need a ride home or anything? And it's just two different experiences all of a sudden happened. Okay.
But why the hell wouldn't they treat everybody like they knew them?
Because
Does
they're
it
not
cost you
trained to do that.
anything to be nice to everybody?
They're not trained to do that, Mr. Larry.
Yeah. Number 3, that was number 3 guy that came in, and he was out getting a car for a customer to pull it up because they didn't have a porter at that time and they didn't have a receptionist. They had nobody that could help them. So the service writers were just doing it all on their own at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And I'm like, wow, you know, here's a dealer that decided to cut cost over caring about a customer.
They didn't cut costs, he cut profits, David.
Yeah. And I just kind of said, oh my God, you know, this is one of the reasons why I love what I do, is that I identify these things. But there are so many people that are looking at their bottom line and managing from the bottom line and trying to cut themselves to a profit and trying to hire AI to replace everybody in service, everybody in the cashier's window, everybody in the BDC. But what they're not understanding is that AI cannot handle human behaviors, and AI just does not know how to navigate things as a person. It can handle some mundane task, and that's about it right now. And truly, it's not AI.
It can't look you in the eye, wave to you, and say, hey, welcome to the store, David. Welcome to the store, Larry. Welcome to the store, Vernon. I want the audience to think about recent good customer experience. And it doesn't have to be automotive, because the way I look at life, everything translates into automotive. I've told my kids since birth, life boils down to a car deal, okay? Any experience that you have in any store is an example of what you can do in your store. What I love about these two guys here, David and Vernon, is they have the experience to be able to see where the breakdown is and then have the ability to train and or correct and implement process to actually fix it. I travel a lot. I'm in store just about every day, okay? So my life, my schedule is a very difficult one. You know, I go for annual eye exams, physicals, all that stuff. Dentist a few times a year. But the bottom line is they have to be able to work on my terms. So I called my eye doctor who had switched practices recently. And I said, look, here's my situation. I'm always on the road, but I don't want to neglect my body because I know that I'm a big believer in preventative maintenance, right? They were able to squeeze me in on a Saturday morning at 8:45. Okay, I went in, they did a full exam, everything, in and out. That's service, right? And that's the type of service that we need to bring into our dealerships, but not just somebody that shows up there to say, okay, I just clocked in, put my thumb on the biometric machine, I'm here now for the next 8 hours. No, proactive people like David and Vernon, who will look at the business like they own the business and be able to see where it's broken and implement the processes to fix it. Now, I have a guy that, and I'll post a link to the video, okay? I was walking through NADA, and this guy, big smile on his face, comes running over. And he said, you know, I want to thank you. He says, I was seeking another opportunity, and you shared my post and you asked for support. And he literally got calls from companies around the country. And he's very happy. He's got an opportunity now. But he says, I don't know if it's appropriate or not to give you a bro hug, but he says, I want to thank you because that simple thing that you did changed the game for him. And I'm hoping that today, between all of our networks, somebody out there sees, because you know sometimes you're a name on the wall, and you're somebody that comments or posts, but people don't always get a sense or a chance to really hear what you have to say. And I'm hoping that somebody out there recognizes the value here, and we can work some more magic.
Let me say this. Thank you to you and Larry, because You guys didn't have to do this. This is the first time that honestly anybody's ever reached out and said, "Hey, let me help you with something like this," that I have seen. So I am grateful and I am humbled that you guys have done this. And I mean, I promise you, I am grateful because I should be watching the Kansas City Chiefs play right now. But you guys,
Thank Paul. Paul is one of the biggest hearted guys in our industry. And he said, Larry, these guys are terrific. I said, I know him too. He said, let's get him hired. And by the way, Paul was kind enough to tell us about his medical experience. I'm going to tell you about mine, David and Vernon. I also went to the doctor at my wife's urging. I got checked out. The good news is I am not mentally ill. The bad news is I'm a carrier of mental illness. So be very careful, everybody.
I've been trying to get a check for. I've been trying to get a check for mine for a long time. So I'm right there with you.
Hey, Paul, we picked a guy that's a fixed ops trainer and a comedian. How great is that? He's had so much practice saying, you want it when?
I just want to go to work with Vernon just so I can laugh all day.
But that's just. But hold on. Let's not give the people the wrong impression. I don't use my superpowers. Well, I take that back. I don't intentionally turn on the comedy at work. It's just my personality. It's how I talk. It's so I'm not a comedian at work, but being a comedian allows me to identify.
You read the room. Vernon, I'm feeling you. You read the room, but Mr. Rozek and Mr. Meijer will agree with me when I say it's very hard to get into an argument or get mad at somebody when they're smiling and they get you to smile. That's why I never understood grumpy people in any kind of retail business.
And that I can tell you is that was rarely my situation to where I would love it when people would tell me, man, they would ask me, when are you coming back? What day are you coming back? And then when I told some of my people that I was not going to be with the company anymore, I was being replaced. They like, who do I call? Who do I need to talk to? Because I have a saying that's on my website. Can I say my website?
Sure.
Yeah.
So my website, well, I have multiple, but my personal website is VernonEDavisII.com. That's VernonEDavisII.com, because I can't put it in your chat over here. I tried. But being able to, my motto is to leave a wake of love behind me everywhere that I go. So my job is to come in and teach you, inspire you, educate you, motivate you. And then when I leave, I'm not that guy you like going, man, I'm so glad that he's gone. And you take everything that I've taught you and throw it into the trash can. But you look forward to our next visit. Not my next meeting, but our next visit. When I can come back in and ask you, hey man, how was that fishing trip to Nebraska? Or I can come back in and say, hey, did you get the braces for your dog?
Vernon, have you ever seen any of Paul's posts? His posts are basically one of two things.
Food.
They don't tell you about what he did. What they tell you is he's at dinner with somebody, usually a friend or somebody at a dealership, or he's at the dealership saying how glad and grateful he is to be there. I always say the same thing. I know it's a cliche, David. Everything you talk about that isn't about money makes you money. And if we can embrace people and empathize with them and make them show we actually care. And by the way, you got to be pretty stupid if you don't care about the people that are signing your paycheck, which is what our customers are.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, and I got to get ready to jump for my show.
Yep.
But I used to post up on.
Well, wait a minute. Can we all come on your show? Because I'm feeling we're warmed up now, brother.
Sure. It's on my LinkedIn page. I posted. It's called Messages in the Madness. I talk about messages in the madness, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's my book.
After the show, post the link, in the thread.
But I want to say this is that I used to post every week photos of me being at different dealerships. I called it, We Out Here Wednesday. And I posted it not for advertisement. I posted it because I wanted to help promote that dealership and let people know that they are offering this. I still talk about mobile service to people because it's something that I believe in, but that's starting to dwindle. But ultimately, I just want to, again, I know we came on to talk about, hey, let's help these guys find a job. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, um, I appreciate you. I am a professional keynote speaker for veteran suicide prevention. So I'm a trained presenter. I'm a trained trainer. Uh, I'm a trained person at doing one thing, helping you to make your business better by
And
making
before
your
you go, I
people
wanted to
better.
thank you because I know that a portion of your book sales goes towards helping veterans. And that's very admirable in how many people you sold. And I know that you're on this race to hit 50,000 people's lives that you've changed. I don't think I know anybody that has changed that many people as you have and helped them,
Well,
in veterans.
I'm flattered. Well, the name of my organization is Thank You for Your Service. I started it in 2012. My wife and I started in 2012, and we have thanked over 48,000 veterans
Wow.
worldwide. Um, and I
And you
got
got
to
to jump.
I just real quick, the very first person that I gave a thank you tag to with the dog tag in it was a Vietnam Marine. I was at AutoZone. I was a commercial manager working there 12 years ago. And I walked in because I was going to share this with my other teammates. And I saw him first. And he had on his little ball cap. And I said, hey, man, thank you for your service and welcome home. And I gave it to him. And I went on and I thanked my other guys that worked with me. They called me captain. I gave him the tags. And I was walking out the door and the guy was still standing there at full attention. And he says, sir. I said, yes, sir. He says, are you the gentleman who just gave me this dog tag and this thank you card? I'm like, yes, sir, I am. And he grabbed me and he hugged me. And he says, I've been home from Vietnam 40 years. And I've only been thanked for my service twice in my life. And you are the second person to thank me. And he held me and he cried. And I said right then, if I could I'll stop doing anything and everything else that I do. But I will continue to do this until God calls me home. Gentlemen, it has been an honor, privilege to your audience. I thank y'all for watching. I thank y'all for letting me be a part of this. Somebody, let's make a phone call and let me talk with you. I promise you, if you give me the interview, I'll sell you on why you should make me a part of your team. Many blessings. Good night.
Thank you,
Stay
Vernon.
healthy.
Thank you, Vernon. Well, it's just us now.
Wow.
It was
That was
lovely.
moving. Very few people are selfless like that. They just help so many people.
I think all of us, though, are like that in this room right now. I think that this is a very unique group of 4 people, 3 people now, but that had really look at how we're helping people. It's not about the bottom line, just like it's never been that, when I was a used car manager, I never worked my pay plan. I worked my salespeople's pay plan, and I helped improve customers' lives. And that's the only way that I really saw it, is that, for me about leading is that I'm helping them grow. I'm working their pay plan so they could feed their families, so that they have a job. And I never really cared about myself. And, this is probably the first time I've ever allowed anybody to do this for me, because my ego has always said, you know what? I walk into jobs. I don't really apply for a lot of jobs. This is the first time that I've applied for jobs. This is the first time I've had all kinds of notifications about jobs, and most of them just being recruiters that want me to pay them to write a resume for them. Something that I want to close at for people that are looking for a job. Run your resume without your name, maybe through a Perplexity or a ChatGPT, because, I think it's called, is it ATS qualified, that your resume has to meet a standard, because all these resumes go through this AI filtering services. And if it doesn't score and it doesn't match what's on your LinkedIn, and it doesn't match and have a very good match for the job. So it's really like you have to rewrite your resume and your cover letter for every individual job you apply for. So think about that. Today's landscape for getting people hired is a lot more complicated than we thought, because I've had so many people go, well, your resume only meets the standard for this job by 50%. And all you really have to do is go to Perplexity and AI and ask it, how would you score my resume and how would I improve it? And then just make the adjustments and be human about it, because so many people have these AI generated resumes and those don't work either. So just a word of advice that I've saw.
You know what it seems that the world is going to AI, but there's a tremendous power, and Larry is just gifted with this. There's a tremendous power in just visually looking at somebody's experience, okay? And picking up the phone and having a conversation. When you do something for a long time, you know it inside out, sideways and backwards, okay? You can tell within a very short period of time whether or not or what somebody brings to the table. And I think so many opportunities are missed. I'm in stores and I work with leadership, okay? I work with executive management and I work with dealer principals. And because there are so many people that don't do the work, dealers miss huge opportunities for things that can make them better because they have blinders on, right? They're just so used to people coming in and not doing any of the work. Nope. You want to see this guy? Nope. Do you have an appointment? No. Leave stuff behind. I'll call you. Nobody calls. Nobody takes the time. And I implore dealers every day when I'm in store. I said, listen, you guys know your business and you know whether or not somebody brings value. I say, give them a few sentences to determine whether or not they've done their homework and whether or not they can help you. Because you'll be very surprised. I had one store I went into, and I've told this story a dozen times or more, where I did my homework. I went into a Buick store. I saw this Enclave. There was a $6,000 price difference between the third-party sites and the dealer's site. And the stock number was very old. So I went in and I asked for the manager, and I said, hey, I'm here to inquire about this particular stock number. Can you tell me how long it's been in the store? He says, oh, just over a year. I said, oh, a belated happy birthday. He wasn't too keen on that, but at least he knew that I had done my homework and I was somebody that maybe could help him, all right? So in our conversation, finally, he just broke down and said, I spend hours every week just trying to keep up and manage all this stuff. He says, I wish there was a tool that did this, and this. I said, it's funny you should mention that, because that tool came out about 10 years ago, but you're so busy deflecting people when they come in to try to help you. You're assuming they're all the same, and they're not, that you missed this opportunity. When you told me moments earlier that by the time they get to my website, and they'll see the lower price and they'll buy it. And I said to him, well, you see how well that's worked for you. This car's been here over a year. What's that cost you? Between floor plan, between dings, between scratches, between a battery that went dead that's not covered by warranty because it's still on your lot, all these things, right? So when it comes to David, when it comes to Vernon, I say, you've heard a little bit about what these guys are about. Pick up the phone. Okay, if you think that you need some guidance with somebody that understands the digital landscape as it relates to AI and process and being able to figure out what's wrong, or if you think you want to be on the forefront of those stores launching a mobile service fleet, yeah, that's right, fleet, not one or two vehicles, but fleet, and set yourself apart from all these other stores that are just trying to figure it out. Pick up the phone, click on the name. They're tagged in my post. Click on the name, reach out to them, have a conversation. Because I guarantee you, very few people bring to the table what those two gentlemen bring to the table. And David, Larry, and Vernon, I appreciate you guys coming on here. Anybody has any questions, like I said, reach out to these guys, reach out to me, reach out to Larry. We're always happy to help. And if there's somebody else out there in my network or any of our networks that needs help, I'm always ready. I'm open to help. Gentlemen, any final thoughts you want to leave us with before we break it down?
Yeah, everybody stay healthy out there.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, stay on after we go off. Thanks for watching. Have a safe and successful next week. And we'll see you soon on Sunday Night Live. Thanks for watching.